Hi, welcome to my channel. The reflection that I have for us right now is that fear is keeping us from being united. And we need to unite in order to prosper as people. I say this because I feel like sometimes, even me, I have hesitated trying to help people outside because of the fear of the consequences of what might happen, especially when it comes to children. I love children. I love people. I'm the type of person that if I can help, I would want to help in my heart. But now I find myself hesitating because I don't know what's going to happen. You know, if what people might accuse you of, like for example, um, our males. If like a child, for example, is lost or something, and you imagine, especially if that child is a girl, and you imagine a male try to help that child. You see that male with that child, you might assume things. I can totally understand why people are afraid and feel the way they feel. And I want us actually to have a conversation in this video. How do you guys think we can work through this? What suggestions and ideas, you know, can we recommend? Like, how can we go about this? Because I feel like fear is there to help us. Is one of those things that we have that can help protect us. But I feel like we have gotten to a point in a society where we are a bit on certain extremes of things, and that makes it hard for us to do things as people that would also benefit us. Yes, it's protecting us, but also it's taking something away from us because we are so afraid of almost anything and everything, you know? We fear people, we fear things, but we also need each other to protect each other, you know? We need, some males out there that intervene and um, save will intervene and be the protective figures in some situation. This can go both ways with the genders, you know. When people there's some those strangers that interfere, it can be beneficial to us. They're protective, you know, but we can also fear people because we don't know what they're doing. We fear like also speaking up and being honest about things because people don't want to hear the truth and the backlash that comes from it. I feel like we have to work on something as a society because honesty is not welcomed anymore. Honesty is not welcome. It almost feels like it's much easier for people to embrace the lie than to embrace the truth. And we cannot live like that, sustain ourselves like that for very long as a society without it becoming a big problem because it already is, especially when it comes to social media and the things out there. Of course, there's certain things that, that are out there that are not good. What I'm trying to say is that we need community, we need each other in order to, progress in a healthy manner as people. But there's so much fear between us and disconnection between us that it's not just healthy fear we have. We have this unhealthy fear that separates us. And I can understand there's a reason behind it, of course. But what can we do to move forward, to move from this? Like, what can we do in order to get ourselves more in the healthier kind of fear that is like for protection and stuff like that than just fear of everything? I'm like, we need a lot of conversations as people, but one of the fears also is the fear of the truth. It seems like we're at the point where it's like people want what feels good or what would not hold them accountable for the things they say or do. It's kind of like the environment that makes people feel numb to a certain to a certain thing. Like they want, so it's not something that would trigger them to in a way that will be better for their personal reflection and development, like in a way that doesn't make them accountable, doesn't call them out on things, doesn't correct them and help them see where they need to improve. Rather, they want to hear the lie. And even in our circles and online environment, It's like if you say something that they don't want to hear, even if it's the truth or even something that will be beneficial to them, it becomes a problem. Things are so bad now that even the good kind of criticism that we should listen to, people are not willing to say those things because they're afraid of the backlash. And there's this positive toxicity, this positive toxic, this toxic positivity, basically, where people are not correcting others on things that they need to be corrected on that isn't good for them. If someone is doing something in your circle or online, even if you know you have that knowledge to say something that could benefit them, some people hold back because of fear of backlash if they were to say that. We've become too sensitive in a way as a society that the truth cannot be spoken without some sort of backlash. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy at all. Um, I can understand there's reasons and stuff that things have happened, but at the same time, I'm like, this is some of the things that we have to realize and work through somehow and recognize, because there's certain way that it feels like only certain things can be said online, but these things are not leading us in the right way. If it has to be only a certain type of positivity, that isn't addressing isn't reflective of reality, because we live in duality. Like, we have all sort of experiences, not just one type of experience, and not everything about life is positive. And sometimes if you do something, you put something out there, you might not realize that there's this negative aspect to this, but someone else might, and they will try to point that out. And as people, we have to be able to listen to things that are hard to listen to and reflect on that. I'm saying this even for myself. I consider myself as someone who's sensitive, but I will hear it and not feel good about it, but I reflect and see if there's some truth to it and what I need to work on. Even if I don't say it completely out loud, I take it in my mind and try to see what changes I can make based on that. It didn't feel good, but I needed that, and I admit that to myself. But of course, I'm always a work in progress, like all of us. We need to learn how to take constructive criticism. That goes for me too. How to be able to speak honestly with one another and be able to take feedback, even if it's not positive. We don't think it's positive. There's certain type of quote unquote positivity that can become too much. Anything can become too much if it's not helping. If it's not honestly helping you grow. You see somebody is engaged in a certain activity that you know is not going to be good for them, and you cannot give feedback because of the fear of how society is, how sensitive we have become to the point that we cannot be corrected without some people feeling a certain type of way or saying certain things. Again, this is me reflecting, of course. If there's any uh, good comments or suggestions or contributions that you want to make in this conversation in the comment section, please feel free to do so. Um, we can all learn from each other. I can learn from you guys the same way you guys can learn from me. And I'm not one to say that I am know it all. No, I identify as a student of life and a continuous work in progress. So I like to hear from people as well and listen to different perspectives. And that's why I encourage that so much. I encourage communication, conversations, listening to one another, sharing different perspectives. And that's why I'm talking about this in this video, because I feel like we've become so filtered as a society that it feels like there's only one way to go about things. We have to be like the trends, follow the trend, and do what everybody else is doing and talk like everybody else is talking, or otherwise it's not going to be acceptable. I don't know why I'm struggling so much to speak. I'm not normally like this at all. But in this video, it seems like that's the case for some reason. But, anyways, it's not healthy if there's no diversity in a society. Life is full of different experiences. And I want us to be able to reflect that in these platforms and everywhere to be real. But it's hard to do that now, especially in this world of social media, because everything has to follow the trend, has to be aesthetic. People are living for the virtual life that they're creating rather than being, it's like everything has to reflect the ideal virtual life to the point I'm hearing stories here on YouTube and stuff like that about people wanting certain things in their events, people to be like the virtual reality that they're creating when that's not realistic. Like the people and the things around them have to change to be like the virtual reality, the virtual version of themselves that they're trying to create. Like people don't want real anymore. And that's a scary thing. That's a very scary thing. Because it's like we're losing our humanity. Losing our sense of community. We're losing what makes us people, what makes us human. The connections, being able to actually express ourselves and feel things and live and experience in the physical. There's already a reality, but it doesn't seem like we want to be in it. We want to escape to a version that we're being led to because of all this social media stuff. And we're going for it without thinking, without questioning. I need us to pause and reflect and remember that there's a real world. And it's not like most of the things that are happening right now, especially in this internet. Let's learn to live in the real world and understand that it's not all linear. And we have to be able to express ourselves and allow others to be expressive as well. And we have to be able to correct each other in a healthy way, of course. I want us to be each other's keepers, if possible. There's life outside of technology. I know I'm saying this like you're watching me in a technological device. I'm not the one to tell you all technology is bad, but it's supposed to be a tool. It's supposed to be a tool that we use to facilitate certain things. But it should not be. We should be the masters of the technology, not the other way around. And it should be a tool, not something that controls us. It's not supposed to replace reality. We have an experience that is very real. We don't have to create a virtual version of it, especially in ways that is unhealthy, how most of us are doing at the moment. Remember your humanity. Tap into the real world. As always, peace, love, and light. And these are just my reflections, my opinions. Of course, it's up to you to use your own discernment. You're entitled to your own opinion and what you choose to do in your personal life. As always, peace, love, and light. You're always divinely guided, divinely protected, divinely provided for.